This worked out well the first time, so we're going to do it again. A lot of people have been jumping into Moon Knight for the first time or jumping back into Moon Knight with Marc Spector Moon Knight. And that means that some people may need some additional information about what's going on in this book, and I'm here to provide it. The question I want to answer is, who is it that comes to Moon Knight's rescue when he's captured by the agency Byzantine? For that, we need to go all the way back to the beginning of Jed MacKay's Moon Knight run, where in issue number 1, we meet Marc Spector Moon Knight, or Mr. Knight, set up in what he calls the Midnight Mission, a place where locals like Terry here can go tell Moon Knight things are happening in the neighborhood, and he can make sure that it gets handled. Whether it's taking down vampires, which is where we meet Reese for the first time, getting rid of literal vermin, or running into good old 8-Ball. Moon Knight is keeping watch over the neighborhood, but who's watching Moon Knight? Then we skip to issue number 2, where we meet a young man who we've come to know as Soldier. And Soldier came to tell Moon Knight about a lot of older people, including his mom, who were acting strange and violent in the neighborhood. And let's just say this guy Holly, who's causing the most unsanitary ruckus ever, gets wrapped up in this issue. Then we get to issue number 3, where we meet the other Fist of Khonshu, Hunter's Moon. It's kind of rough, but they get along later. And of course there is issue number 4, where Tigra comes to town. And I know you're saying we're doing a lot of meeting. I know, but we're getting down to the good part. Because in issue number 5, Terry, who's been hanging at the Midnight Mission, tells Moon Knight he knows exactly who's been targeting him. It's Soldier. And although Moon Knight doesn't want to believe it, you can see with your own eyes. Soldier is, or at least was, a Hydra agent. Moon Knight even goes to see his mom because he can't believe what he's hearing. But when he gets back to the mission to answer an alarm, he finds Soldier tied up, and we find out Soldier's not the enemy. But Soldier does have a bomb strapped to him, so Moon Knight has 2 choices: either save himself and get away, or try his best to save Soldier and risk everything. And while we get a dramatic explosion, Moon Knight and Soldier make it out alive, only to find out that Terry is the person Moon Knight should have been watching out for, because Terry is not Terry. Terry is Zodiac, the person that saves Moon Knight in Marc Spector Moon Knight issue number 1 or 2. But here's the twist. Zodiac never wanted to kill Moon Knight. He wants so much more. He wants to break Moon Knight and help Moon Knight. And then jumping forward to issue number 7, we find Moon Knight at the bar with no name. And he wants answers, he wants names, he wants the location of Zodiac, even if he has to go through 8-Ball, this manslaughter Mars deal. And he was going to go through this clown, but apparently Zodiac got to him first, and Zodiac is telling Dr. Sturman, Moon Knight's therapist, what he's really up to, and again letting us know that he's trying to change Moon Knight. He wants to get Moon Knight back on track. And finally, we're going to jump ahead to issue number 11, that this Moon Knight that doesn't kill, this Moon Knight that hangs out with the Avengers, this Moon Knight who wants to be a hero, that's not Moon Knight. And apparently it breaks his heart. The Moon Knight that Zodiac wants to bring back is the Moon Knight of old, the Moon Knight who killed, the Moon Knight who was ruthless, and he'll do anything to get it, for whatever crazy reason Zodiac has in mind. And that's what I think you need to know about Zodiac going into Marc Spector Moon Knight. By now you've probably read it, you've probably seen Zodiac come to Moon Knight's rescue, kind of, but you're wondering, why is Zodiac trying to rescue Moon Knight? It's because, 1, Zodiac is crazy, and 2, Zodiac wants to bring us back to the Moon Knight of old, and he will stop at nothing to get that old thing back.